Joining me here is a man who knows all about Belichick's mannerisms and coaching style and everything else. Love this man. Multiple appearances on this program, but his first right now on the Roku Channel version of this program. On the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line, my colleague from the NFL Media Group, the great three-time Super Bowl champion, Willie McGinest. How you doing, Willie?
I am doing well, Rich. How's everybody doing, man? It's been a minute.
What's up, Willie?
We're good.
How you doing, brother?
We're good. We're good.
I miss you guys.
Well, you know what? There's one way to fix that. You know,
more appearances.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We're right here.
Let's go.
I mean, if you're the NFL Network, we're just literally a 5-minute drive on the 105. If you're somehow back in Long Beach, we're not too far there either.
Right.
I mean, we're equidistant from all of your spots, Willie. You know.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
So your concern level for the Patriots would be what right now?
Well, I just think it takes time. Like week 2, in my opinion, the way I looked at it is an extension still from camp and preseason. A lot of these guys, the Patriots did play their starters, but a lot of these teams haven't played their starters. I just think I think it takes a couple of weeks, a few weeks, to kind of get everything in place, especially when, you got new play callers, you got guys that haven't called plays in a long time. You're dealing with a lot of soft tissue issues, injuries and other things. It's the beginning of the season. Guys are not used to the certain in-game physicality that they're going to face, that they have. It's just a lot of things, Rich, when you look at the beginning of the season. So I try not to overreact and panic early on because it is a long season and, things will start to get in place and start to take form, as teams play more ball. But this is a well-coached football team. They have been for years. You know this. And whatever their issues are or appear, at some point will be worked out.
Well, the issues may be roster. That's the issue, Willie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, offensively, you saw what Miami looked like with a first-time play caller in a way. I mean, Mike McDaniel really wasn't calling plays wherever he's been, but it's his first-time head coach, and you saw talent all over the lot with an Alabama quarterback of their own, and you kind of got a glimpse of what the second-place team in the AFC East could look like, and it sure wasn't New England. That was the issue there, and your thoughts on the play calling and handing it off to Matt Patricia and how you think that's working out, Willie.
Well, first of all, just to your point with Miami, Mike McDaniels was the run coordinator for 4 years before he became the OC in San Fran. So he had a lot to do with the design of the plays and the formations and all the different things, as well as when he was with, I think Kubiak with the Texans. So he's an experienced offensive guy who had a lot of input and design when it comes to the play. So I would say he's a little more comfortable and familiar. Now, ironically, Matt Patricia started on the offensive side of the ball before he became, the defensive guru and coordinator and head coach when he was in New England with us. So he does have some experience, and Bill has a knack for cross-training coaches on both sides of the ball. Now, what I will say is to call plays, know the momentum of the games, and have, those instincts and being able, to be patient and not get caught up in one play and, having the innate ability to keep things moving. Matt Patricia has that because he has been a play caller. He has called plays for years, but just not on the offensive side of the ball. But when you deal with Bill Belichick, you have to learn the offense. You have to go in with the offensive coordinator. You have to see how they will attack your defense. You have to know certain nuances for the good coordinators, in my opinion. So he has experience. He's never done it as an offensive coordinator. I think some of those issues will work themselves out. It's definitely not smooth right now, of course. It's not smooth for Mac Jones. Having Josh McDaniels, one of the best to ever do it, in his ear and in the room with him and developing him. So now, you had two guys you were kind of talking through, and one guy who's, used to being on the defensive side of the ball, and you don't have that relationship that you've had for years, with Josh. So, of course, it's a little different. and it's going to take. There's some kinks. It's going to take some time to work itself out.
Willie McGinest, my colleague from the NFL Media Group, NFL Network, here on the Rich Eisen Show. So the Bills clearly look to be the class of Week 1, and then the Chiefs are like raising their hands, saying, "Let's not forget about us as well."
Right.
How do you suss out the AFC after Week 1, Willie McGinest? What do you
Bills
got?
do look really good. I would say that. And what impressed me more than the offense was the defense. Von Miller got off to a fast start. But not only Von, that whole defensive front, Phillips, the other guys, all the guys had plays and made plays. So you saw the impact of not just Von Miller personally, but what his effect was on the defensive front and how good they could be. And that was without Tre'Davious White. You know, he wasn't even there. So that defense looked really good. The offense, of course, you know, when you add a running game, you add James Cook, and you show that this year, like Sean McDermott said, he wanted more physicality out of the trenches. He wanted them to be able to stop the run on defense and run the ball more effectively. He came out and showed that that's going to be an important improvement on their team, that they are going to run the football. And they came out and did that emphatically. So this team right now looks good. Kansas City, you mentioned, Rich. They came out and they looked like Kansas City. And they looked like the team that was patient and moved the ball down the field. Patrick Mahomes took what the defense gave him. You didn't really miss or think about Tyreek Hill because it's a different way. It's kind of like when Matthew Stafford lost Megatron, you know, and he had to work through all his other receivers and spread the ball around a little bit more. You saw a little, you know, the same design. Andy Reid is one of the best coaches, coordinators, play designers to ever do it. So, and just watching all that, I was like, okay, I understand what they're going to do. They're going to get everybody involved. The play design is still going to be there. You don't have that explosive guy yet. Sky Moore could be something like a Tyreek Hill, but they've got options, and they got guys that can make plays.
Willie McGinest here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think Russell Wilson is thinking right now when his coach took him off the field for a place kicker in the spot where, you know, he had a chance to win it, come back in front of the 12s, just like he's done so many times for the 12s? I mean, he's saying all the right things. Do you think he really believes all the quote-unquote right things? What do you think? I
think the first thing that hit his mind was, what the hell is going on? Like, why am I not on the football field? Why did he not call my number? You know, McManus, I'm not taking anything away from him, but you got to know your personnel. And to me, it was a rookie mistake by his head coach, not a lot of experience. McManus was, 1 for 8 from 60 yards out, you know, and kicking field goals. So if you're going to put the ball into the money's hand, you're going to put it into Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had 32 comebacks in that stadium, 32 winning drive comebacks, however you want to calculate it, in that stadium. I'm putting the ball in my best player's hands, and I'm trusting in him that he's going to give us an opportunity to win the game. And it's nothing against the kicker, but it's just like those are one of those decisions. It's obvious for me. I wouldn't even think about it more than one time. It's obvious. And there was more things, Rich, that went on in that game that they need to focus and improve on. You know, time management, handling the clock, situational football. There's a lot of things that I looked at and bothered me that they need a lot more work on. They had 2 delayed games, could have been 5 or 6. You know, the ball was snapped with almost a second left, and they were rushing a play, and it ended up into a negative play. And with all that said, they still had an opportunity at the end of the game, you know, to win it. But if I'm Russell, I'm a little discouraged that the ball wasn't in my hands, but he is a team guy, and he doesn't want to put himself above the team. But in that situation, you got to go to your money players. You got to go to the go-to guys. And I thought that was just a big mistake by the head coach.
3-time Super Bowl champ Willie McGinest from NFL Network, at Willie McGinest on Twitter, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Tom looked great, man, or Tommy, as everybody who played with him refers to him. Brady looked amazing. You know, he's still slinging it around, and the Bucs looked complete. I really liked what I saw from them immensely. Tom batting now year 23. I think the thing that he likes the least is happening. His personal life being discussed quite a bit. Do you think this is his last year? I just get the sense this is his last year. He'd like to see if he can try it one more time and do it one more time, and then that's a wrap. Willie, what do you think?
I think Rich, if he wins it, it could be. He will walk off into the sunset complete and feel like he did what he came back to do. He did sign a 2-year deal, correct? So if it doesn't happen, that year is still lingering out there. I think he gave himself a little bit of cushion, but he did look great. Outside of, he still, he lost his left tackle and Donovan Smith, and the center Jensen is not there. And I think they had Leonard Fournette hobbled off, and, he's still going to play. Chris Godwin left with a hamstring, and he still was able, to go out and play at a high level. But I think Tom is loyal to the game. He loves the game. He has a lot of football left. He knows that. And it's just hard to walk off when you have so much left. He led the league last year in yards and touchdowns.
I mean,
it's hard to walk away.
It's amazing. I mean, he looks 25. He looks remarkable, but it just seems that his next life is knocking on the door louder than it's ever knocked, and that he can't ignore the knock on the door because he loves the game so much, will miss his teammates so much, and still has so much left to give. That's the general sense you're feeling right now with him.
Yeah, but when you sign up, when people come together, you got to understand who those people are. And this is who Tom is. And I think in his personal life, his family, everybody around him really understands and knows that. They have for years that part of his personal life and his life was going to be sacrificed because of the game that he loves so much, because to be that elite, to be that great and that consistent and that dedicated to play on a high level for so long, you have to pour so much into it. And every part of your life is sacrificed. Now, when he started off, he didn't have kids, and, there's a lot of things that didn't exist. But now, as you grow and your kids are getting older and, you want to spend more time with your family and doing things, and there's other things that play into it. And those opportunities outside of family will be there. The television stuff, it's not going anywhere. They'll wait for Tom Brady. But it's the things that you're referring to, his personal life, that, at some point you got to say, am I still playing at a high level? How much am I willing to sacrifice? How much do I love this game? What are my chances? And you got to look at it like this as well. What are my chances at winning another Super Bowl with the team that I'm going to be with? And when I weigh all this, is it really worth it? So there's a lot of things to factor in, but at the end of the day, those around Tom, they know who he is and what he has been for years, and you have to accept that part of him. And, it's hard, but it's a sacrifice, man, in a lot of different parts.
Willie McGinest, you're a perfect guy to ask this to as well. Before I let you go, we had Tom House on the program in studio just a couple of days ago, and he's part of the TB12 team, his throwing coach, along with I've got to throw Alex Guerrero out there as well as trainer, who has been part of the team to help the longevity occur, but also put in front of Brady all of the concepts that Brady would have to adhere to 24/7, 365 in order to play as long as he's played now. Tom House told a story about coming off of the practice field in New England with Brady after a throwing session and Belichick calling them into his office. I want to play it for you and get your 2 cents since you're my resident Belichick whisperer. Go for it. Roll it, please.
By the time I got around to Tom Brady, walking by Belichick's office one time when we had been out on the field throwing the football, Belichick called us in and said, okay, tell me why I shouldn't trade Tom Brady. And at this time, I think Brady was 37, 36. And I just said, well, Bill, the research shows that if Tom does what he's supposed to do, all those 4 things I just mentioned, which he does to the T, there's no reason he shouldn't play until he's 45. And here we are.
Here we are, right. What do you think of that? What's your 2 cents on that exchange from back in the day?
I give you 3 cents, Rich.
Great.
Belichick has been criticized for moving on from players in the past, like really good players. And I think that he has the innate ability to evaluate when a player is either peaked and is about to kind of slide the opposite way. And he's been wrong a few times, you know. But with Brady, I don't know or think anybody would have guessed this man would have won a Super Bowl in his late 40s.
Right.
Outside of the people around him who sees the regimen, who sees the hard work and everything that goes into it. It's a perfect storm with players, especially at the quarterback position. Peyton Manning did it when he left Indianapolis and went to Denver. It's a lot of pieces that has to fall in place. Management, ownership, coaches, impactful players around you that can help you to where you're trying to go, your health. You know, there's so many things. And I think that Brady has done things the right way for so long that he picked the perfect opportunity, the perfect situation for him to put himself in that situation where he is now. Now, Belichick is one of the smartest men, forget coaches, just men I've ever been around. So his evaluation, the way he diagnoses players and their talent and their production and all those different things, I would say he's batting probably over 85, 90%. So he's rarely wrong, and his tenure in New England shows that. He's moved on from a lot of guys, but that's the one guy that defined whatever anybody, outside even Belichick, outside of anybody would have thought he would go on to do for how long he has gone on to do it. So House, Alex, Brady, they're all on point. They're all right. He's 44 now, right?
45. He's 45. And at the time, like right around that time, if you kind of peg it, that might have been around the Garoppolo drafting, or Garoppolo had just been drafted, and the idea that maybe Belichick wanted to move on to Garoppolo, and he was kind of kicking tires. To me, that also sounds like Bill might have been busting stones. Like, okay, you guys are working on all this stuff outside of the training staff. Why don't you tell me why I shouldn't trade Brady? What are you working on? Like,
got to. Every position, you got to draft. You got to draft and be prepared for the future in every position. Now, since they drafted Garoppolo, how many more Super Bowls did Tom go on to win?
3.
In New England and outside of that.
3. Right? I think it was 3, right, Chris? Didn't he win 3 more after Garoppolo?
In New England, yeah.
Yeah, in New England. Yeah, that is
there you go.
Right.
I mean, so hey, they all bet on Brady for a few more years, and they all did pretty well. Right?
I know, but I just took it to be Belichick's just like, okay, put your cards on the table. What do you got? Why shouldn't I trade him?
That's what he's doing.
You know?
That's his job. Evaluate talent, kick the tires.
Yeah.
Do the most research that you can do, and make a decision based on that. What's best for the team, as he always told us.
Well, great chopping it up with you as always, Willie. Next time in studio, would love to have you here. Always, your insights are spectacular. Love watching you on the network. Love that you're a colleague. Love seeing you there when I stop in and you're there, and just love you in general. Thanks for the call. Really appreciate it.
Hey, love you, Rich. Thank you, guys, man. Talk to you soon.
See you, Willie.
All right, the great Willie McGinest right here on the Rich Eisen Show.